And hello, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Entertainment with me, your host, Jonathan. Once again, bringing you some pretty interesting rumors that I have been hearing online that kind of bugs me a little bit. So I wanted to talk about it because it's kind of an interesting rumor that could or may not be true, but who knows? We'll see in the couple months if it ends up being true. But it's kind of very like nail biting to me. So before I begin, gotta say, where's our trailer, Marvel? I'm gonna continue saying this until Marvel releases the Doomsday trailer. All right, so you ever go online, look up whatever you want to look up, and then you get these random rumors about something that may or may not happen, and you just go and roll your eyes, whether that's a Star Wars project that may not make sense, Marvel news, DC news, that may not make sense. Well, that's exactly what it is here right now. DC. DC's got a problem. Apparently, DC is decided, apparently James Gunn is being reported. Now, this is speculation as well, so make sure you guys know that he could be directing the Batman Brave and the Bold. Now, Batman Brave and the Bold was going to be directed by Andy Muschietti, who previously directed The Flash and, of course, the It movies and, of course, the It TV show that he pretty much helped make, which is fantastic. I recommend you check that out. So, where is this news comes from? I'm not really sure where it comes from. All I just saw was on newsfeed and that it could be true. So one of the movie people are just running with it. So I'm like, all right, let me talk about it because it's very interesting to me that this might be a thing. Because a lot of people are like, well, if James Gunn doesn't want to be the boss of DC, he should just direct movies. And I actually agree with that. I totally agree with that. I think, listen, I love James Gunn. I think James Gunn's great. I loved his Superman movie. I love The Suicide Squad. I love the Peacemaker character. What he brought to life with Polka Dot Man was awesome. I'm pretty sure he will make Condiment King a freaking superpower threat, maybe more powerful than Thanos as a character. Just kidding, but just, you know what I mean? Just, he gave us Rocket Raccoon for Christ's sake. So, you know what? I think he can pretty much do any character he wants. Excuse me, it's kind of hot. Anyway, so I'm thinking to myself, all right, Supergirl right now is not doing well, and I get it. I had my fun with it. I had my moments I didn't like, but it was okay. Okay, one fumble on the playing field, and somehow everybody's like, okay, Tom Brady should just quit playing football. It's like, what are you, crazy? You're acting like if Tom Brady lost the Super Bowl, he should just quit football, right? What happened to the next couple of years that he did it? He won like, what, 6,000 rings that he has now? They don't stop the train just because of one bad electrical problem. Supergirl's an electrical problem. They can fix this. You got Clayface coming out, which could be awesome. Apparently, screen testings, I really don't buy those things because you never know if that's true or not. But apparently, the screen testings for that movie has been positive, so we shall see. They did say the same thing about The Flash, and look how that turned out. So we don't know. But lucky for us, Clayface is a lower budget film than Supergirl was. Supergirl was 120, 175, I think, almost a 200 million, but whatever. Anyway, this whole notion that James Gunn should just continue, just stop making these comments online about what he's doing, and people asking him questions. He needs to stop that immediately. He needs to focus on being a boss. Yes, he's already making Man of Steel 2. He couldn't have got another great director to do it. Superman 2, excuse me, Man of Tomorrow. He could have got another director to do it. Why is he focusing so much on being a director? I get it. He's a director, If Kevin Feige was a director first and then became the president of Marvel, he'd probably be doing the same thing. But Kevin Feige is a producer. He did at one point wanted to try his hand on directing a Star Wars movie, which who the hell knows how that would have turned out. But yeah, I just don't see James Gunn doing this. He needs to stop. Listen, if you're being hired to be the boss of a company, if for some reason Apple came to me, like I was running near an Apple store and I saw the president of Apple, it's like, I quit you be in charge of Apple. I wouldn't know what the hell to do. I can be a good salesman. I can sell you Apple products because I love the brand so much. I know everything about Apple, most of it. But you know what I'm trying to say. So if James Gunn only knows how to be a director, so why did he take the job? It just boggles my mind that he is the president. At first, I'm like, all right, he's gonna be the president. Maybe he'll do one movie in every other couple of years, just to be fresh and all that stuff. But now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, he needs to stop, because I'm listening to other people online talk about how James Gunn needs to stop doing this, and they're actually all completely correct. He needs to stop. If you're gonna be the boss of something, you need to be the boss and stop being the pal, the good friend, the guy who hangs out in the thing. It's cool to show your face to the public once in a while to to show that you have confidence in your product, like Kevin Feige does. But when it comes to closed doors, keep the doors closed when you have to talk business, whether it's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. A lot of people are complaining that he didn't start off with the Trinity, which maybe he should have, maybe he shouldn't. It all depends on how you actually look at it. But this whole now notion that he might direct Batman is starting to bother me now, because I love James Gunn. Don't get me wrong, I do. I just don't want him to do it. I don't want him to do it. I don't want this to be a thing. And there's also part of one of the rumors that I read about this is the fact that now they're saying that, again, rumors, that they're saying that if Robert Pattinson's Batman 2 is a hit, which of course is going to be a hit, they're going to put that in the DC universe. I'm going to say the same thing I said about the Snyder Cut. It's pointless. It's completely pointless, because the Snyder Cut was supposed to change the DC universe. And look how that basically killed DC. I do not want Robert Pattinson as Batman in the DC universe. He does not fit this universe just as much as Henry Cavill's Superman wouldn't work with Christian Bale's Batman. Does not work. Okay, two different separate universes. I don't get why people are still on this nonsense that, oh, Robert Pattinson would make a great Batman for the DC universe. Yeah, he would have. Problem is, he's already Batman in his own Elseworlds universe. Why do we need him to be the main Batman in DC? Yes, I get it. People are going to be like, oh, we're confused. You know that if they put Miles Morales Spider-Man in theaters right now, a brand new Miles Morales Spider-Man, it's Spider-Man, different costume, different color, person, African American / Puerto Rican. Shout out to that. People will be like, oh, so he's a different Spider-Man, but he's still called Spider-Man. I think I've heard of him. And a lot of other people will be like, yeah, we'll tell their friends and tell their family members who don't know this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. So he's a young African American kid from, I think it's Brooklyn, and he's Puerto Rican. People will get over it quick, okay? The same thing with the new DC Batman. If the DC Batman is, I don't know, just taking a guess, just saying a random name, Hayden Christensen. And that'd be kind of funny if it was. Hayden Christensen's the new Batman. By the way, I think they already cast the new Batman. They're just probably not going to announce until at least Comic-Con or maybe afterwards. But anyway, if it's Hayden Christensen, are people going to really get confused that he's playing, but yet they see Batman on the screen as Robert Pattinson? Are people going to get really confused? They're going to see a Batman movie, but like Batman movie coming out 2027, 2028, whatever it is, and go see it, regardless of who's the Batman in it. Then they'll see another Batman. They'll be like, wow, two different Batmans. Which one do I like more? The debate will begin. I just don't buy this whole notion that people will get confused. I keep hearing that. I just don't buy it. I feel like there's no evidence to prove that people will actually get confused. Maybe the general public will, but the people, those guys will get confused because that circle is probably more bigger than the geek circle that we all live in right now. Obviously, makes sense that they would, but I don't think it will actually hurt the brand of having two Batmans on screen, because I guarantee once they put Miles in a cameo in some Secret Wars thing as live action, they're going to end up doing it. I know there's some kind of contract thing with Sony saying you guys can't get Miles, Marvel can't get Miles until after the Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, guess what? There are two Spider-Mans. One's animated, but one's live action. They don't get confused with that, but still. Anyway, I just don't think it can happen. And I don't want James Gunn directing Batman. Like, if this was his first movie as the boss and he's going to direct Batman, all right, cool. All right, cool. Makes sense to do Batman. All right, do Batman. That'd be kind of cool. I would like to see his take on it. I really would like to see his take on it. The problem is he's already started with Superman. And I don't want him to get used to being just the director. If you want to just be the director, then give all the power to Peter Safran. Let Peter Safran be the boss, and you listen to him. That's what James Gunn needs to do, and he's got to also stop with the Twitter stuff. You know, he don't answer my Twitters, but you know what? Everybody else he answers, he's just got to stop because he's gonna keep giving spoilers to people, and everybody keeps asking, "Oh, we want this, we want that." It's keeping him from not doing his job properly. This is the reason why Kevin Feige doesn't answer his fans about, you know, when he press stuff, he does a little bit, but he gives vague information. He doesn't go blah. Oh yeah, we're doing Secret Wars, and Deadpool's gonna die, and Thor's gonna hold him in his arms, and we're gonna hear the secret wars of what he whispered to him in his dying breath. You know, he doesn't do that. So Kevin Feige does it right. You know, James Gunn, if he wants to do it right, he's got to stop being the director. I know directing is an art form, and I get it, and I respect every director out there. But if you're going to be a boss of something, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to be the boss of the studio, and that's it, okay? Because otherwise, you're going to run DC back into the ground again. Right now, it's on an okay, good streak going. It's got Creature Commandos was great, Peacemaker was great, Superman was great. You have one fumble with Supergirl, and that's fine. You can have one fumble or two. But once you get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you're in trouble, okay? We can't have this. We cannot have this. Otherwise, you're going to have to scrap all this again. And then guess what? If you run this to the ground before it even begins, when Paramount gets ready to start bringing in all the boxes of Warner Brothers into their garage, they're going to just like, ugh, DC, James Gunn, throw it away. And then they'll make their own version of it, and then guess what? It could be either worse. Worse, or it could be better. Who knows? But right now, James Gunn needs to stop this nonsense. He needs to stop being just a director. Finish Man of Tomorrow, and that's it. Okay? Start working on being the boss and getting directors who are talented to be able to control and do these movies, just like how Kevin Feige did with the Russo brothers, you know, with himself, obviously. You know, when we first met James Gunn as a director, a lot of people don't know about Slither. You probably don't know what the heck Slither is, exactly. When he made Guardians of the Galaxy, guess what? He became a household name. The Russo brothers, for that show Community, right? You ever heard of it? No. What? Why? Because they were just a bunch of comedy guys. And guess what? They're one of the greatest directors for superhero films ever. Okay? You know? So that's how you're supposed to create legacy directors. You want to get these guys out there. Nobody heard about Daniel Crenson, who's directing the new Spider-Man movie, before Shang-Chi. And guess what? Now they know him. And guess what? All those students can be like, hey, you did a good job with that Shang-Chi movie. You did a really good job with Spider-Man. Which Spider-Man is going to make gajillion dollars in the box office. And guess what? He's going to get all the phone calls from other studios to be like, oh, can you direct this movie or this movie? Or come over to, you know, maybe one day he'll go to DC and do a DC film. Maybe a Justice League Dark or something. But only if James Gunn let go of the whole being a director thing. If he wants to be a director, and let Peter Safran be the boss. Because you can't be the boss and be the director at the same time. It's just going to be sloppy. And who knows? Maybe Man of Tomorrow comes out and it's awesome. But maybe also it can also be terrible. And then he goes and directs Batman. Then what? Then if Batman's terrible, then you just screwed Batman. I mean, I don't know how Batman can get any worse than freaking Batman and Robin, but we don't want that nightmare. We only had one bad Batman movie in our entire lives, okay? And that's Batman and Robin. Questionable with Batman Forever. Batman Forever is like a 50-50 shot of being bad. But we can't go back to the dark ages of Batman being terrible. We cannot. Especially now. You know, no. So James Gunn, I love you. I think you're great. I just don't want you to do Batman. I don't want you anywhere near Batman. I don't want you anywhere near directing movies after Man of Tomorrow. Hell, keep Patterson away from the DC universe. Listen, if he ends up being the new DC Batman, cool. All right, fine. But I just think it could be a shot in the foot. Because people are just going to be like, wait, what? How? Why? You know, I just don't want to see it get ruined before it gets started and be great. Because you're on a good hot streak right now. You don't want to lose it. One fumble, okay? It's like the New York Knicks when they had that one lost game. Everybody was like, they're about to lose. And guess what? They came back and won. So we need to keep that winning streak going. We need DC to be great so that way other comic book movies can be great too. Because, well, without comic book movies, what's this world going to be about? Westerns again, Sword and Sandals, as much as I missed it, but can't just go back to the Dark Ages again. We need to keep superhero movies alive. So, there you go. So, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this rumor, if you guys even heard about it. And do you guys agree with me? Do you think James Gunn should stop being a director and just be focused on being the boss? Or do you think he should let go of the power and give it to Peter Safran so he can direct the movies? Because if he directs the movies, maybe he'll continue making gold. Whatever it is, leave a comment below. Let me know. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good day.